What's up, guys? It's your Fit Doc, aka Kristen Simone, and I'm back with your weekly dose of medicine. And today we're going to talk about clinical week. So my first clinical week. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified every time that I post a video. I didn't really do that good of a job recording last week just because there was a lot going on. It was homecoming at my undergrad, college, and university, and I just was not recording like that, to be honest. So I kind of wanted to give y'all a rundown of like how it was, what I learned, who I rotated with, and what is to come. So I'm going to hop right into it. I did a rotation, if you want to call it that. It's not really a rotation, but it lasted for a week. And they put me in North Carolina. They put all of the students in different cities in North Carolina, and I worked with an internal medicine physician. So I don't know about y'all, but whenever I was like applying to medical school and hearing about all the different specialties, I thought that internal medicine was like kind of a specialty. I didn't really understand what it was. I thought it was kind of like the medium between becoming like a pulmonologist or a nephrologist or any other like specialty organ system that you want to work with. I thought that you had to go through internal medicine to get there, which I was right, but I thought that internal medicine was just like kind of like an interim type thing that helps you get there. I didn't think that internal medicine itself was its own thing. Like, no, you can be an internal medicine physician. You don't have to move forward and do a fellowship in cardiology or whatever. So I was really confused as to what an internal medicine physician did, because I was just like, well, if you have someone that has COPD, wouldn't you just send them to a pulmonologist? Or someone with heart disease, wouldn't you just send them to a cardiologist instead of like being an internal medicine physician? But I quickly learned that internal med is just another type of, it's a primary care. Okay, being an internal medicine physician is being a primary care physician where you're managing people's chronic diseases such as diabetes, chronic kidney disease, heart disease, pain, just different things, and you kind of manage their care and you refer them to different specialists if you feel like they need it. And you get wellness checkups, yearlies, 6-month checkups, 3-month checkups, depending on what people's issues are and what they want to do. If they want to see the doctor 3 times out of the year, or if they feel like they're well enough to only see them once, depending on what their blood work and everything looks like. That's up to the patient and the physician. But that is what an internal medicine physician does. So I started off on Monday, and I kind of shadowed for the first half of the day, and then he kind of had me go into the patient's rooms to get to know them for myself and kind of relay back, what their chief complaint was, what were their chronic issues, and just anything else that I got out of the patient. So towards like the end of the day, really the middle of the day, I started going into the patient's rooms after the medical assistant, checked their vitals and had them settled, got them settled and everything. I talked to the patient. I talked to them just to get to know them for myself, ask them about their medical history, surgical history, what brought them in. A lot of times it was just like an annual exam, a checkup. Other times it was other issues like that arose, new concerns. But here and there, there were wellness exams, yearly checkups, and I would just talk to them about where they're from, if they have family in the area, do they live alone, are they working? A lot of them weren't working because they were older. So in this clinic that I worked at, a lot of the patients were older, like 60 plus. And I think that's common in internal medicine because a lot of times you're dealing with like those chronic issues, and a lot of times those patients are older if they're dealing with a lot of chronic issues. So that's really what I saw a lot of. And towards the end of the week, I kind of got comfortable with asking them if they received their flu shot, because that's what a lot of patients received this week, their flu shot, since it's getting into that season, making sure they were up to date on their COVID vaccines. And when it came to like the physical exams and the wellness exams, asking them about their mammogram, colonoscopy, bone scan, things like that, if they have a living will. So I was learning about that, and I got more comfortable speaking with patients, and it was to the point where towards the end of the week I was kind of seeing almost every patient and just going in there and speaking with them and getting to know them for myself, because I'll probably be seeing some of them in February. So let me just get into the schedule. So this month we had clinical week, and it was towards the end of the month, so October 24th through the 28th was our first clinical week. And then I think our next clinical week is in February, I think the end of February as well, so I think February 28th through March 3rd or something like that. We also had this thing called hospital week, and hospital week is whenever you spend a week in the hospital. And some of my other classmates had hospital week this week instead of clinical week. So throughout the year, if you go to my school, you'll be having 2 clinical weeks and a hospital week. I can't tell you like when. It's just sporadic. The dates are the same, but you may be at hospital week first, you may be at hospital week in the middle, you may be at hospital week towards the end of our clinical experiences. So I know that I'll be back in February in the internal medicine clinic with my physician, and I'll probably be in hospital week maybe in April. I think that's whenever they do the last one. April or May. I cannot remember. So I'll be having my hospital week last. I had some friends that had their hospital week first, but we learned so much, so much. I do feel like finally the stuff that I'm learning, I can actually apply it and I can understand. I was talking to a patient, and she was telling me about just her family history, and how her other family members were dealing with certain diseases, and she had mentioned good pasture syndrome, and I was like, yes, that affects the lungs and the kidney. Like, it affects the alveoli of the lung and the glomeruli of the kidney. It's like a collagen defect or something like that. So I learned that. I didn't think it was, I was like, when am I ever gonna really even know this, like need to know this? But she was talking about it, and I was like, yes, I know what that is. I know what that is. So I got so excited because I knew what it was, and I'm finally learning about things that are actually like practical. And of course y'all would think, well, duh, you're in medical school, what'd you expect? But like, when you're so like, y'all, come on, like when it comes to pre-med prerequisites, like, you feel me, when you're thinking about organic chemistry and like plants and biology, you're like, when is this ever going to be applied to an actual human? But to actually be here and to learn things that are actually applied to a human, it's just so refreshing. And so I learned about that. I also learned how to listen for heart murmurs. So I'm trying to get more comfortable with the stethoscope. It's very foreign to me. It's hard to listen to. And we only had 2 weeks of practice, so I'm not too hard on myself. However, it is definitely a challenge, but I'm getting better. This week I learned, but I listened to a systolic murmur, which was exciting. And I also listened to someone that was in AFib. AFib is still hard to hear. It still sounds kind of normal to me, but again, I'm learning, and hopefully by the time that I see him again in February, I'll have a better experience when knowing what to listen for. Oh, there was one example, or not one example, but there was one patient where I just went ahead and I started to like do the physical exam on them. Like towards the end of the week, I was, like I said, I was seeing more and more patients, and I started to just do a physical exam. If I knew someone had COPD, or if I knew someone had bronchitis, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna take a listen to you real quick. And then I listened to them, and there was one person who had a heart murmur, and I knew it for myself. Like, earlier in the week, my doctor would be like, oh yeah, this person has a heart murmur, go listen to them. But like towards the end of the week, there was one patient, and I listened to their heart, and I was like, that's a heart murmur. And so then after the visit, he was like, did you hear the murmur? And I was like, yes, I heard it. So I felt good that like I was finally learning. Like, I'm learning it without him. And I know I have a long ways to go, but I was excited that I could hear it, without that assistance. So I heard what a systolic heart murmur sounded like. I heard what I guess like a 2 out of 6 murmur is, which I guess that means like it's like a very, 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 very faint murmur. I heard what that sounded like, and it honestly was really hard to hear, but I heard it at the end of the day. I heard what someone was in AFib. I heard what that was like, and I also heard wheezing and bronchi. So that was good, and so I feel pretty good about the experience. I felt like I learned a lot, and I was getting used to talking to patients. I think if you watch my YouTube, which people watch me for pharmacy videos, but y'all, I'm not doing any more pharmacy videos. So I don't know if you're watching this video, but I'm not doing any more pharmacy technician videos. I'm no longer a pharmacy technician. I'm a medical student. I'm going to be a doctor. Love pharmacy technicians, love the pharmacy, but you will not be seeing any more of those videos from me. But moving forward, yes, I had good feedback from the patients. I was learning actually how to listen to the patients and just let them talk. You know, if you just are quiet and you let them talk, they will tell their story. And if you watch me on YouTube, you know that I have a PCC class, and I'm trying to work on speaking slower and not letting the patient feel like I'm rushing them, because sometimes, you know, for our clinical skills exams, which are standardized patients, they're actors, I've gotten feedback that, you know, they feel rushed. And I think it's because I speak fast. And so I'm working on speaking slower, as you can tell. And I'm working on just letting the people talk. But what I've noticed is that, of course, we know that like standardized patients don't work like real patients. Standardized patients are looking for things that are wrong. They're nitpicking. And while some patients may do the same thing, I've learned that in my clinical week, they were talking. You know, I didn't make them feel rushed. I was speaking with them, and I would ask them questions, and I would let them answer however they wanted, and they were open-ended questions that I was asking. And I could tell the difference between like the standardized patient and a real patient. The feedback that I received from the patients were that they all loved me. They were talking to the doctor, and they were just like, yes, I do love her. My doctor said that I made the right decision by going into this profession, and that meant a lot to me because it shows that I'm walking in my purpose and I'm doing what I'm meant to do, and I'm doing a good job at it. And for the patients to give me good feedback like that, it feels good to know that I'm doing something right. And grades aren't everything, okay? Standardized patients can say whatever, but I know what the real patients are saying. But at the end of the day, you know, you have to do things for a grade, and you have to do things to completion, and I'm going to still work on talking to my standardized patient in a very calm manner and in a very slow manner, not rushing, not speaking fast, being okay with that 8 seconds of silence to see if they have anything else to say. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to come here and recap on what I learned in my experience, and I'll come back with some tips for clinical week in another video. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for those who've stuck around, and I will hopefully see you in my next video. And until next time, thanks.